I was hoping that you would share some about your experience this last year having a stroke and your recovery.
I will.
All right, great. So tell me about, tell me a little bit about yourself, what you did for a living.
Well, I'm 78, and I was an insurance agent for 36 years, and I also flew helicopters commercially.
What happened last year to you?
Last year, I was at a shooting range getting testing for my concealed weapon permit, and I went up to check the target, and all of a sudden I started getting dizzy and sat down, and the next thing I knew, the ambulance was there. Mm-hmm. And they said they were pretty sure I had a stroke. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember much. I remember getting to the hospital, mm-hmm. and that's all I remember till I woke up.
After you had the stroke, what was impaired? What were some of the changes to your body?
My left leg, mm-hmm. foot, my left arm, hand, fingers, everything. They're all not working properly yet, mm-hmm. but they're coming back.
What about with your swallowing and eating? Were you able to eat after the stroke?
I don't know. I was told that you helped me learn how to swallow, mm-hmm. but I don't remember any of that.
Do you remember having the feeding tube?
I remember, seeing it. Mm-hmm. It's odd. The feeding tube was filling me up. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would get full. Mm-hmm. And then they would give me something to eat, and I couldn't eat it because I was full. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was really weird. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah, having food pumped into your body through the tube. What about your thinking? Do you remember feeling confused or not knowing where you were?
Evidently, I didn't know where I was because I thought I was getting on a boat at some point, that I was supposed to go fishing, and mm-hmm. that the next couple of weeks after the stroke, and I kept dreaming or thinking about fishing and that I was at a dock, mm-hmm. and it was really weird. I'd look out the window, and that's something I can remember. I'd look out the window and say, man, this place looks familiar, but it's not. Mm-hmm. So my thinking was certainly not all together.
Mm-hmm. What do you feel like really made your recovery so excellent?
My wife, my mm-hmm. son, and the therapy that was given to me. I never gave up. I'm not gonna. I don't give up.
Yeah.
I don't give up now, and the therapy that I'd go through every day and exercises means an awful lot to my body. Mm-hmm. It's hard on my wife because, we're not spring chickens, but at the same time, I know that it's good for me and it's good for her to see me get better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know you've done speech therapy, you've done occupational therapy, you've done physical therapy. Right. What are some of the exercises that you've done with them that have been helpful?
When I first met you, mm-hmm. I would meet you and you'd come back the next day and you would ask me, I do remember you'd say, do you remember my name? And I couldn't. Mm-hmm. So I gave you a name.
Mm-hmm. And that was the kind of a key to help remember.
Right.
Mm-hmm. What kind of things did you do with occupational therapy or physical therapy? Or are you doing?
Now? Mm-hmm. Well, the physical therapy, they've got me walking. Mm-hmm. I started with a hemi walker, mm-hmm. and then now they switched me to a cane, mm-hmm. which I think I'm doing fairly well. And now they've got me going up and down curbs and ramps and stairs, and all of those things I think are good for my body, but there's exercises that I do every day. I would say probably close to 2 hours of exercises every single day. Mm-hmm. I never miss. And when I miss, believe it or not, I feel guilty. My legs have gotten really strong because of certain exercises, and now my hands are getting better. balance exercises, which are important, where you're standing, holding on to something, and you let go, and eventually your balance is coming back. And I think it was, or it is, very similar to a baby learning how to walk again. It really is. I mean, at least a baby never knew, but I knew, and it is a little bit exasperating to know that you can do it, that you know how to do it, but then you try it and you can't yet. But it's getting better.
But when I first met you, you were in a wheelchair, and it took about 2 weeks to even be able to sit in a wheelchair. They had to lift you up from out of bed using a lift to get out of bed. And now, you know, you're able to walk around using a cane on your own. You're doing stairs.
Stairs, I do ramps, I do curbs. Yeah. But it's all a learning process. And for anybody that's had a stroke, don't ever give up. It's important that you just never give up, unless you don't want to live. That's one thing, but there's no reason not to live if you have the loved ones with you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd want to share with people who've had a stroke and are in those early stages of recovery?
I think the main thing for anybody that's had a stroke is don't look at yourself in a bad light. Look at yourself in a good light, because you could be in a different place a lot, pretty quickly. Just, be positive. I really think that being positive and having an attitude that is forward rather than backwards, and never give up.
I really appreciate you sharing that. Awesome to me. Look at that guy in action there.
What?
I said, look at you in action.
I didn't let go of the name, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good, because then when she does